Welcome, fencers, to Northwest Fencing Center's training series. I'm Coach Michael, and we're going to be working today on keeping our fencing arm in shape. We've been doing lots and lots of calisthenics and various exercises to keep ourselves generally in shape. But one of the things that degrades when we're not fencing is the strength in our hand, our forearm, and our shoulder. And we're going to be working on keeping that up to snuff and maybe even improving it over where it was before all of this craziness started and we wound up locked in our houses. So we're going to start by simply warming up our muscles a little bit, and we're going to work on the large muscles, and then we're going to gradually work down to the small muscles. In the beginning, we're going to work with big arm circles. We're just going to take one arm and circle it back 4 times, and then we'll go 4 times to the other arm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. If we do 4 sets in one direction and then 4 sets in the other direction. And if these muscles nice and loose in the shoulders. Now we're going to work we're going to do it with our arms extended, and we're going to alternate arms. Even though we're primarily interested in our fencing arm, we don't want to get too crazy lopsided, and we want to keep our shoulders loose on both sides. A tight shoulder on the back of an extension will shorten your extension, so we want to keep our shoulders loose and strong on both sides. So we're going to start out making a large circle and gradually come down to a small circle and then back out to a large circle again. If I'm doing it pointed at you, it's small circle. Well, actually, it's large circle down to small and small back up to large and vice versa. So we're going to do 4 sets on each side. Each set is going to be 5. We're going to count 5 on the way out and back, and that's a set. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's a set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. We're going to alternate and go to the other side. Same thing, large and gradually smaller. Now you notice I'm going one way on the way in and the other way on the way out. So in this case, I'm going clockwise on the way to small and then counterclockwise on the way out. And then when we switch to do our sets on the other side, we'll start going in the opposite direction. We'll go opposite of what we were doing before and change the direction on the way out. And on the way in, and on the way out. And on the way in, and on the way out. I'm losing count here. I think that's 4. And 5. And we'll go back to the other side. Small and large, small and large. And I'm going to allow you to decide how many of these you want to do. But if starting large, working small, coming back to large again is 1, and a set is 5, you want to do at least 3 sets on each side as a minimum. If you want to keep going and do more of them, go and do more of them. It couldn't hurt. Now, here's where we get to use some items around the house. I have a can of beans, or in this case, chickpeas. Odds are you've got a can of something around the house these days, whether it's a can of soda or a 14-ounce can of tomatoes or beans, or this happens to be a 29-ounce can of beans. Pick something that's a weight that you can handle. It's better to start out too light than too heavy. And what we're going to do is place ourselves in an on-guard position. We want to get down in our on-guard and be nice and balanced and comfortable. We're going to hold this can in our palm. I'll move up a little closer. You can see I'm simply holding it like this. Put ourselves in our on-guard position, and we're going to do can extensions, which means we're going to extend out. We're going to use both arms when we extend. All right, and we're going to do 3 sets of 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and recover for about 10 seconds. When you're doing these extensions, the slower you do them, the more challenging they are. And you want to make sure that your form is good. Your spine is erect, shoulders aren't hunched over. You're on a nice on-guard position, well balanced. Second set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure your hand, 7, is coming up to shoulder height. 8, 9, and return. Relax and shake them out. Again, this is going to be a minimum of 3 sets. Feel free to do more, but as you've been off for a couple of weeks, it's better to go a little bit too easy the first day you do something and work yourself up into it than go really, really hard the first day, and then tomorrow you can't pick up your cereal spoon. All right, last set. Really concentrate in the last set on your form. Nice extension. Notice both hands are extending. If you want to go for extra points and hold a can in your left hand, or your right hand if you're a lefty, feel free. 5, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax, shake it out. Now, we're going to start working on smaller muscles. If your arm's a little bit of a swing after that one, we don't have to go through full cool down mode, but your shoulders may feel a little tight. Loosen them up, roll your head around. I happen to have here, a little hard to see, I'll come up closer, a rubber band. One of those fat mailing rubber bands, or perhaps a hair tie might work. You can use multiple rubber bands if it's too easy. But what you're going to do is place that rubber band around your fingers, right around at the base of your fingernails. And we're going to open our hand out. Open out. We're stretching that band outward. You'll feel that in this area here. This is a good rehab for and prevention for tennis elbow. We use these particular muscles a great deal when we're doing extensions and blade takes, and disengages and blade takes, engagements, what have you. So we're going to do, how did I have that marked? 3 sets of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to rest for 10 seconds. Again, just like with the can extensions, the slower you go, the more challenging it is. And the more rubber bands you put on, the more challenging it is. Second set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can change the orientation of your hand. 8, 9, 10. That's our second set. Let our arm relax a little bit. Give ourselves 10 seconds of rest. And then back in for another set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you want to add some degree of difficulty, you can go out and hold for a count of 3 and then back in. 1, 2, 3, and then back in. Or for a longer count if you want. Holding the against the rubber band and then relaxing it back in. If you want to do extra sets or you want to add more degree of difficulty to the set that you're doing. Now, we may have done one of these in Cody's class as well. We're going to do what's called the blade finger crawl, or at least that's one of the many names it has, where I'm going to hold the blade in my hand, and I'm going to use my fingers to walk the blade all the way to the bell guard and back down. All the way up, and then you walk it down. Don't just drop it down like that. Several reasons. One, you're not getting the exercise that you're intending. And secondly, if there's a little sliver, and you should do this ahead of time, inspect your blade and make sure there's not a sliver on there, but there might be a little sharp edge and you go like that and you've got a little bit of a nick in your finger. So the blade finger crawl, some of you will find this very difficult. So I'm not going to give you a set number of sets to do. What I want you to do is do as many of them as you can. Woohoo! Do as many as you can in a 3-minute set. And that may mean that you get partway down, got to take a rest, and then you go a little bit more, and oh, my fingers are tired. Back in the same place, and I may need to work it up. I may only get up and down once or twice in 3 minutes because I have to keep taking breaks, but that's okay. Do as many as you can. You'll notice I'm doing it with my arm extended. You might find that towards the end of the sets, you have to bring your arm back because your shoulder's tired. Work them up and down. And you're probably doing this, alone, sitting somewhere. So hold yourself accountable. Just because I'm not watching you or Coach Vince isn't standing behind you going, hey, no cheating, doesn't mean that you should be cheating. Work them as well as you can for a 3-minute set. By the time you've gotten to the end of this, your forearms from the last 2 exercises are probably all tired and your shoulders all tired. So we're going to do a little thing here in the middle where we grab the blade right next to the bell guard. We check around and make sure that the dog or our little brother or sister isn't standing next to us, and we're going to twist the blade. We're just going to go back and forth. Bring it back in, extend out, bring it back, extend out, bring it back, extend out. We're just going to do this a few times to loosen our arm back up. A little bit of a nice arm swing. Again, notice I'm holding the blade here, or let go of the blade. Give yourself an arm swing. Make sure you're not taking out any chandeliers or poking your brother or sister in the eye. Now we're going to go back to working our fingers, and we're going to start working on a little bit of precision here as well as strength. Notice I have my blade here, and what I have done is I've taken a rubber band and I have rubber banded a hacky sack on the end of my blade. What's nice about this is I can leave it out at the very tip of my blade where that what was once seeming very light hacky sack is now pretty heavy. Or I can slide it back a little bit if I need it a little lighter, or I can slide it way back if I need it lighter still. I'm going to have it out here at the end, and you'll notice I have a setup over here where I've got a bike work stand. Now sometimes we clamp a practice arm in this, but what I have in it right now is just a tennis ball. If you have your tennis ball on a string, you can use that as it is. You don't need to clamp it in anything. But what this is imitating is a doorknob. A doorknob is a wonderful thing to do little disengages around. Keep your blade as close to the doorknob as possible. Try to use just your fingers and go around and around the doorknob. So we are going to be doing these weighted disengages around our imitation doorknob. And what we're going to do is 5 to 6 rotations in each direction. So I'm going to go clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go ahead and do 10. I'm going to go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. And I'm just going to keep doing 10 in each direction until I've gone in each direction at least 3 times. I'm going to stop. I'm going to shake my arm out. I'm going to give it a 10-second rest. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do another set. You could also do these by time. You could simply be going in a circle 6 if you're right-handed, circle 6, or left-handed, just do circle 6. I'll do it this way in the second set. I'm watching my clock, which is just off screen. I'm keeping it small and accurate. And I'm just going to do it in this direction for 10 seconds. And then I'm going to switch. I'm going to go back in the other direction for 10 seconds. Woohoo! It's getting harder. And then I'm going to take a break for 10 seconds. I'm going to come back for my third set. If you're a pommeler, go ahead and pommel it. But whether you're a pommeler or you're using a pistol grip or something in between, you want to try and do this using your fingers to manipulate the blade as much as possible. You notice that my extension is not completely full-on hard extension. It's a soft extension so that there's still some flexibility in my shoulder and elbow. I'm going to do my 10 seconds in one direction. And back 10 seconds in the other direction. There you go. You can also use this weighted setup to do your extensions that we were doing before, although I prefer to use the can because I can get more weight on that. Again, minimum of 3 sets, 20 seconds of disengaging, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on. That's your minimum. Add onto it as you need more. I would not go crazy on the weight. Anything much more than a hacky sack or a small bean bag, you could take a tennis ball and cut 2 holes in it and slide the tennis ball onto the ends. You're going to think, oh, a tennis ball doesn't weigh much. Wait till you have it sitting out there at the end of a 3-foot lever. All of a sudden it weighs a fair amount. So you can use anything you can to tie on there. You can use an old sock, fill it with a little bit of sand, tape it onto one of your weapons. Get creative. I know you can do that. Now that we've done that, we're going to do these precision disengages with our normal weapon, which is unweighted. And right at the moment, feels like it weighs nothing by comparison. We're going to get that same rough, slight extension process. I'm not fully extended, but I'm partially extended. And I'm going to make those disengages as tight and as close on that doorknob as I can. And we're going to do the same sets we were doing before. I'm looking to go for 20 seconds, either alternating so that I'm doing circle 4, 8, and circle 6, 7. Same amount for 20 seconds. I'm going to give myself my 10-second rest. I'll shake my hand out a little bit. I'm going to come back, do my next set. Trying to use just my fingers. Try and get really close to that doorknob. Making sure I'm going both directions. If you have a direction that feels weaker to you, that you find it harder to do more accurately, do more of them in that direction. Take that weakness, turn it into a strength. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Get ready to do your last set. Notice when I do this, I also get into an on-guard position. My legs right now are doing what you would call an isometric exercise. Planks are another isometric exercise. My muscles in my legs are working as well, but they're not moving. And rest. Woo. And that's our 3 sets. Again, add on sets. I wouldn't go much beyond 5. I don't think there's much point in going beyond 5 sets. If you want to keep this entertaining, you can go do it, knock this kind of workout out in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then go do something else. That way you can keep engaged and keep it interesting. You won't have to worry about grinding away with your blade in your hand for an hour and a half, because that's just kind of dull for anybody. All right, so we've done all of these little lovely finger exercises and shoulder girdle exercises. And so we want to cool down a little bit at the end. We can do that same sort of cool down, similar to the warm up, swing our arms around. And take your arm and bring it across. Pull. Switch to the other side. Bring your arm up behind on your elbow. Some of you more talented types can actually link your hands together. Jump both sides. Arm circles together. Clasp, bring your hands loosely together and loosen your wrists up. I'll do that slowly for you. Long, just kind of moving your hands around. Stretch, pulling back against the fingers. You want to hold these stretches for a count of 10 to 20. Again, Coach Vince has been giving you some excellent stretching modules. Work those stretching modules into this workout as well. Get yourself all loose. When you're all nice and cool and ready to go do another thing. Now, I've got a couple of little bonus things. If you want to get creative and you want to do some slight differences to this, there are a few things that you can find, you might find around the house, or that you can get a hold of reasonably easily without leaving your house, that could also give you some fun things to do. One is if you go on Amazon and you look for vacuum cleaner drive belts, particularly the ones for the little beater bar head on the vacuums, this is what they are. It looks like, and it is, a rubber O-ring. It's flexible. It's not stretchy. And you can take that rubber O-ring and you can sit it at the end of your weapon. And you can use your fingers to make tight little circles. Go back the other way. If you want to. Try and keep it there. You can do all sorts of little interesting things there, but you notice that I'm extending out, but I'm using my fingers to move that blade around. You can work those in. Figure out what you think a set is. Maybe it's on time, maybe it's a count of how many rotations, or maybe you're going to see how long you can do it before it falls off. Again, you'll find out that one side direction you're probably going to be better at than the other. Practice the one that you're worse at a little bit more, but do them both. I've got an office chair here, and you can see that I've taken a blade and I've just sat it in the office chair, and I used a little bungee cord to attach it so that it's reasonably snugly there. It's not on super tight. Now, you might also have a brother or a sister or a parent or somebody who would be willing to sit there and hold a blade, you know, while they're reading a book. They could just be holding a blade for you. But what you're going to do here is I'm on one side of the blade, and then I'm going to the other side. Let me see if you can see this better on the camera. If I move this over here a little bit, you see that I'm disengaging under the blade, and I'm simply tapping on each side lightly. And I'm trying to make that disengage as small as possible. Because the chair is low, I need to get low in my on guard position so that that tip of that blade is roughly at my shoulder height. And that's going to give my legs an extra workout. I can do that way. I can do cutovers. I can move a little bit closer, and I can do bigger cutovers. And I can still do my small disengages. But this is another way where you can work these in instead of, say, our disengages around the doorknob. This is another way that we can do very, very small finger disengages. You can do them weighted and unweighted. If you have a vise on a bench in the basement or garage, you could maybe clamp a blade in that. All you need is to have a blade there. You could even use a broomstick if you didn't have an extra blade of your own at home. So that's our work on our hands, forearms, shoulders, to keep our fencing arm strong and ready to work when we can get back to the club and start taking our lessons again. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for our next one, which I'll be doing on armory, particularly how I can use armory to make my results better at a competition. Take care. Have a good weekend.